I want to point out a couple of other things. We'll notice that some things have changed inside of our course, and your teacher may do this to you. You may log into Schoology one day and you don't see the things that you've been seeing anymore. And what's happened here is a lot of the content that we've been accessing has been organized into a folder. And that folder is now labeled week one. So the things that we've done are not gone forever. You haven't lost your assignments. Nothing like that has happened. It's just that they've been changed around. And I anticipate that as this school year goes along, we're going to be doing a lot of that as teachers, and we're going to be reorganizing things, moving things around. So it may be helpful to ask your teacher where something has ended up if you've lost it and you can't find it, or if it's in a different place. I know a lot of times personally, I may add links that we're going to use in class to the home screen and not put those in a folder, and then later go back and move those into a folder. I like to create different folders throughout the year, and sometimes they may be visible or not visible depending on what we're doing. So some of those things are going to change throughout the year as we progress through the course. I also wanted to point out again that our calendars changed. We've got those old assignments that we've already done that are still showing up there, but we'll notice that there are some other things that have been assigned to us in the class that are a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the week one folder. And when we do that, we're going to see several things have been added here. And I wanted to kind of do this video to expose us to some different types of assignments that we may encounter throughout the year. The first assignment that I want to point out is a discussion post. Most of us are familiar with this idea. But for this particular assignment, we're supposed to write 2 to 3 sentences that explains who we think the greatest scientist of all time is and why we hold that opinion. So this is kind of like a blog. We're going to write some responses here, and those responses are going to show up to our other classmates, and we have the ability to comment on our other classmates' responses as well. So you may encounter that. We could write that we think Albert Einstein is the greatest of all time because he studied nuclear physics. Now, that's not 2 to 3 sentences, so I'm probably not going to get a good grade. But let's say I was satisfied with that answer. Then I'm going to post it, to add that to the discussion board. We could also upload a file here. We have that ability. If we make reference to some other link, some other website outside of Schoology, we could do that here as well. And we could import a file from our resources if we've uploaded some there. So keep in mind those abilities at the bottom to add in links and to upload files. You may want to upload a picture or a diagram or something that you found on the internet as part of your assignment to help further explain what's going on. In my class specifically, this may be useful if we end up taking a screenshot, or we end up creating a file that has a table of data in it or something like that. We may want to upload that data here to reference in our discussion post. That may help us out. So when we click post, we're added to the thread here, and I can see that Mr. Marks thinks Albert Einstein is the greatest of all time because he studied nuclear physics. So we may encounter discussion posts, and our teachers can grade those, or they may not be graded depending on their personal preference. We notice that there are also some other funny looking things here that have like little chains to the side of as their icons. These are links. And Schoology has been real weird in the past about some of the links not working the way that they should, but it seems like over the summer they've really improved their ability to import these links and to contain that within Schoology and not make you go to some external tab. So let's say we needed to go to UNA's website for something. I may have put this link up in the folder for a specific reason. I want us all to go to UNA and look at something on their website. If I click it, then it's going to, or at least it should, pull up the website within the Schoology page here. Now, if for some reason you click a link and there's nothing there, you think, man, I don't know what my teacher wants me to do. There's nothing here. There's nothing to look at. Sometimes the link won't embed properly. And in that case, you might want to go up and click the blue part here, or the little window with the arrow pointing out of the top right corner. And that's going to open a new tab and send us to the external page. So that should always work. Even if the link inside of Schoology is not working and you don't see anything that you think you should be seeing, it's always helpful to click that blue link here, or the little window that sends us to a new tab and sends us externally outside of Schoology to go to that link. So you may encounter that from time to time. So we've talked about discussion posts. We've talked about links. A lot of you guys in my class are going to be using these PhET simulations quite often as we progress through chemistry and through physics. Really help us understand a lot of things, and those will run inside Schoology now, which is pretty cool. It takes a little bit of time out of trying to get you guys to the right spot, and those will open up inside of Schoology. And the last thing I want to talk about is assessments, quizzes, tests. A lot of those are going to be done online in Schoology this year as well. Those may look a little bit different to you as a student. Since we've upgraded our version of Schoology, tests used to always look like this with the little green puzzle piece and the pencil, or quizzes look like that. You may also see a blue sort of puzzle piece this year that may be assessments as well. And there's just some little differences. They basically work the same way. I'm going to click the sample assessment. Of course, there's different types of questions on the quizzes. And right now I see that the submissions for this particular assessment are not enabled yet. So this means that my teacher has locked me out of the test. I'm not able to access it yet. So if that happens, you may, if you know you have a test that day, or if it's due that day, you may want to shoot your teacher an email or call them, do whatever you need to do to get in contact with them to say, hey, this hasn't opened up yet. And it may just be that your particular test or quiz is not going to open until a specific time. And I know in my class, I'll try to do a good job of explaining that in the instructions for the assessment, that, hey, this is not going to be open until 11 o'clock on Tuesday, and it's going to close at 1:30 on Wednesday, or whatever the specifications may be. So you need to really check that. I'm going to pause the video now and go open this assessment up so that we can see what it looks like. Okay, so here we are now back on the assessment screen, and this assessment has been enabled. You'll see the change there, and we have the ability now to start a new attempt. This particular test is set up so that we can only make one attempt, and it tells us the due date and time and when it was posted. We also have the ability here to make some comments if we need to explain, hey, Mr. Marks, my computer shut off. Could you reopen my quiz or whatever, or I'm not able to take this right now. You could always post those comments there for your instructor to try to reach out to contact them that way. If I start a new attempt, this particular assessment only has 2 questions. We've got one true and false, the second question is, and then one multiple choice here. What's my favorite color? I'm going to assume, since we're talking about Central, that red should be my favorite color. And is Mr. Marks your favorite teacher? Yes, of course he is. And then I submit those answers. And for this particular test, it's automatically graded. I didn't have any short answer responses, no essay questions, nothing like that. So it goes ahead and spits out a grade for me immediately. Now, again, this does not mean that this grade is automatically imported into iNow. You're going to have to wait for your teacher to upload that grade into iNow before your grade is reflected in iNow, so that may take a little while. You have to remember that teachers have several students, lots of things going on, and these do not automatically integrate into the iNow gradebook, so You're going to have to give us just a little bit of time to get those scores put in. Try to do a good job, especially on tests, of getting those in the same day, especially when they're all multiple choice and true and false, things that are automatically graded. But if there are essay questions or short answer questions, you're going to have to give your teacher just a little bit of time to be able to grade those and get those put in the grade book. So I can see that I've submitted my assessment now. I made a 100 this time, and everything is great. So looking back at the week 1 folder, looks like I don't have anything else that I need to do in week 1. There's been several things we've talked about. Hopefully this is helpful as you start to access some of the content inside of Schoology and you start to work through some of these issues that we're inevitably going to have.